All right, well, if you join me in the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So no script, no.
Call the meeting to order, call the meeting planning commission to order, set a date and time.
All right, well, we call this planning commission meeting to order. It's 5/28/25 and it's 4:01. So we're here tonight to talk about the applications of planning, open spots for the planning commission. So we have 6 applications in front of us. What I did was, which was very random, is let's put it in a little app and pick who we're gonna do first. So we're not gonna go quite in order. So what we'll do first, I think, is you tell me if you think this is appropriate, but this is kind of what I'm thinking, is call them up one at a time and let them, we'll ask our questions and we'll go on. So one thing we need to decide, do we want to set time limits for each? We have 6 of them. I mean, we don't, I don't think we want to. I mean, I don't know what we would set. I think we want to just, unless it goes over.
So I think the meeting scheduled 2 hours, so if there were 6 and you guys were super efficient, 20 minutes per would put us at 2 hours. But we probably want to give some wiggle room there, and so maybe 15 minutes per interview maybe makes sense. As a cap, you guys feel free to go less than that. I guess just some background for the record. So we have 1 planning commission vacancy open. We also are interviewing for the pro temp. Let me just kind of go from the beginning here. So since there's a vacancy, this is to be appointed by the county court. You guys are gonna give the recommendation to the board of commissioners / county court to make their selection for both the planning commission vacancy and the pro tem vacancy. As a reminder, members of the planning commission, this is under 18172-080. Members of the planning commission shall be residents of various geographic areas of the county. The county court may deviate from that to obtain a full 7-member board. And so I believe we are missing representation from Powell Butte and Palana area. We are not supposed to have more than 2 members engaged principally in buying, selling, or developing real estate for profit. So there's a cap of 2 on that. No more than 2 voting members shall be engaged in the same kind of business, trade, or profession. And so I don't know, do we have any duplicates of the same?
Well, I don't know about us. I mean,
So, yeah, so I do real estate appraisal and I do not focus on selling real estate.
yeah,
And so you're not developing,
Although I'm a
appraising?
principal broker, I just appraise real estate, no development.
Principally in
I
buying,
study
selling, and developing.
development.
So I think
Right.
you guys are okay.
okay.
Are there any other overlaps on professions? So I don't think we need to worry about that. The vacancy we're looking at here is Cal's old one, which expires at the end of 2026. So this is kind of a 1.5-year term. So I want to read you the pro tem language so you guys can think about how you want to address that. So during the temporary absence or disability of a member of the planning commission, the chair shall select a commissioner pro tem to serve during the absence or disability of the absent member. At the chair's request, a commissioner pro tem shall be selected from a list of 1 or more commissioners pro tem and be appointed by the county court. And so the way I read that is we aren't limited to a single pro tem member. I know scheduling can be hard. It would be my preference as your planning director to always have, whatever possible, a 7-member panel up here to decide, make decisions. And so I know we haven't done it like this historically, but I wanted to give you guys the option, considering this pro tem as kind of a training ground or a way for members of the public to be involved in land use in the county without maybe the full-time time commitment as a planning commission member. So I think it would make sense if you have candidates, out of the 6 candidates that are great candidates, if, we have the 1 vacancy for the planning commission member. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be helpful to have more than 1 pro tem, whether that's 2, whether that's 3, whatever you guys think would add value to your position and to your job duties here. that may make sense. Also to be on your radar is we have, another vacancy open right now that's being advertised. That vacancy ends, I think, June 10th. And so, there's also no reason why you could select someone today to give a recommendation as a pro tem that could then be pushed forward and then be open for that planning commission spot at the next round of openings a month from now. So just letting you guys know, you have kind of some flexibility here in what you recommend to the board of commissioners. And just keep that in mind as you are interviewing these candidates. Are there any other questions for me before you guys get going?
Vacancy to fill. One coming up. Multiple pro temps if we choose.
If you choose, yeah.
Okay. Okay, any questions? No, on that? Okay. So the first one then, we'll have Hunter come up.
You like over here?
Yeah.
Up there in the hot seat.
And I just state your name and address for the record, so we have it.
Name is Hunter Newhart, live on 17223 Southeast Conan Basin. Consider Prineville, about Buena Valley.
Okay. Unless you guys, I thought I would just start off with something, but obviously we have your application here. But in just talking kind of off the cuff, what made you want to apply for this?
So I was, a couple things. One, Gary Bedortha kind of talked to me about it, and so does Susie Hammer. And I really wanted to, I value Buena Valley very much. Just want to be able to protect it in any way I can. I'm on several committees in town, and so I've really enjoyed being part of this community more and more.
Okay. Is there anything in the application that didn't ask that you thought would be relevant for us to know?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Do you have any? Saw some of you guys writing, so
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rod.
So Hunter, what do you see in the future for Crook County, say, within a 5-year period of time?
In a 5-year period of time.
Yeah,
So I see a lot of expansion and growth here, but I want to really push towards agriculture and keeping the core roots to Crook County.
If they find into something, sometimes maybe they're not tied in. Did you have them going?
Hunter, so, can you explain your experience with land use planning and zoning? Have you had any personal experiences with applying for permits or what's your understanding of zoning regulations in general?
Yeah, so I've done a little bit of planning. One is we're putting a family cemetery on our property. So I'm a little familiar with some of the rules, and then also at some point, I think my family or my dad wants to put another property on the 320 out there on one of our properties. So other than that, I don't have very much experience, but quick learner.
Since I've joined the planning commission, workload has grown and grown. Things used to be pretty simple, things are much more complex. I would say, on average, prior to a planning commission hearing, they take 4, 5, 6, maybe more hours of reading, thinking, getting ready. Do you have that time?
Absolutely. Yep. I'm not a big fan of watching TV. I do enjoy reading in the evenings. Always make time for what's important. And this will definitely take precedence.
Thanks.
Laquita, did you have any?
He's already answered the one I had, so. But sometimes we deal with contentious things. And so what is your communication style and how do you deal with discussions that are not pleasant, let's say.
Oh, gotcha. No, absolutely. I'm definitely very level-headed. I don't get very emotional. Try to be very rational in decisions that I make. I do work with, for communication. I do a lot of good at phone calls. Do that a lot. Emails, very familiar with the computer, so Zoom. No problem.
Thanks.
You mentioned that you were on some other committees and stuff. Are you familiar with Robert's Rules of Order?
Robert's Rules of Order.
Yeah,
I'm actually not.
okay. And it's just guidelines that we abide by
Okay.
conducting a meeting. That's
Oh,
what they are.
gotcha, okay.
I just blew it for everybody else. We might ask that question.
Yeah, you did. That's okay.
You could have just said, okay, Hunters, you don't know. Any other questions? Rita looks like she's thinking.
No, I'm good.
Okay, as far, you said you've, done a few things with, your property and things like that. Obviously, you've got cattle, you got this. How does summertime,
Mhm.
when you're busy, do you think that's gonna interfere with, your attendance on some of these? Or-
No, I have employees as well, so, I always have somebody, multiple people on the property that can take care of anything that comes up. So I'll always be able to make every meeting.
Is there anything else you'd like to add that maybe we didn't ask?
I guess I do a lot of work with BLM, so very familiar with a lot of people in the office. And then the committees I'm on, I think if you see it right there, would be the Wolf Committee. The Crook County Stock Growers, and currently the Ag Extension Service with OCU here in town.
Okay. Anything else?
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for us?
Nope, Gary filled me in on quite a bit, except for the rules. Robert's rules.
All right, Hunter. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the 15 minutes is a cap, not a requirement, so that one went pretty quick. We're ahead of schedule.
Okay, next in my random pool of numbers, but I don't, is Isaiah on here? Okay,
I saw him in the front desk earlier today. Was that not him? Maybe we can come back to him at the end, maybe.
well, he's not here, so I'm not gonna. It's just a question, I guess. Did you say you can have up to two in the same profession?
Yeah.
Is that, okay,
Yeah, you can have two in the same profession, no more than two.
okay, so we'll put him at the back here in case he shows up. Kurt? Kurt, just go ahead and state your name and address for the record, so we have it.
Kurt Joe Benini, Richard Lane, Front Oregon.
Okay. So we'll kind of jump around here a little bit, but, obviously we have your application. We would just like you to kind of elaborate or tell us anything that maybe wasn't on there or that you want us to know.
I'm unfamiliar with, I mean, I was on the district champ parliamentary procedure, but I've been out of the system for a while about how meetings go. I did a little bit of reading and I know I can reach out to John or Anna for it. I'm willing to learn. And, the last 5 or 6 years, I've had pretty good years with my business and I'm gonna slow down. And so I'm looking to, strategically, hopefully, set the future up for the kids coming up. I grew up in this town and, it seems like everybody in my class, they all left because there really wasn't nothing here for them. And I would really like it. My kids are graduating from Powell Butte in the 8th grade and they're gonna come to middle school here or high school, and I would like to have something that they could stay in Prineville for. We have a lot of opportunities with the Facebook and everything coming in, but we're still not getting that jobs, and we're still not getting, in my opinion, things for kids to do. I'm lucky, my kids do rodeo and we do horses and stuff, but it would be very tough to be a kid from this town growing up here, because there's not a lot to do, and when there's not a lot to do, it's trouble. And so I want everybody to know that if you, thank you for, looking at my application, but I'm passionate about our future and not just making our county great, but making it great for the children that are in here. So I guess that's it, Mike.
No, I mean, that's good. We want to be able to hear what you have, what you're passionate about, what you care about. Anybody else want to ask?
Well, with that lead in, are you for a swimming pool?
Ours old pool, I mean, it was, my dad was here, my grandfather was here, so yes, I am. Guys, it's just that I don't know, it's not anybody's fault, but it just seems like we're evading things for our children, and it's just, if we raise kids in this town, our kids don't stand a chance. They're gonna leave college and they're gonna go away from it. And when I was a kid, if you got lucky, you got a mill job or you got a Les Schwab job, and you had to work your butt off to get that job. And what do they got now?
So as I mentioned earlier, there can sometimes be quite a bit of homework to do before a hearing. And that may take several hours. Some of these issues that we have before us are pretty complex. You got these big solar farms and you got rock pits and all sorts of stuff. Takes a bit of time. Have you got the time?
I got the time, and I would be calling on all my other commissioners so we could all talk it out, and maybe, I'm sure we all work together. Is that right? Or do you stay to yourself and?
We can't have a forum.
Yeah, as planning director, I'm stepping here, so we want to make sure there's four members or more, that creates a quorum.
So
They're
talk to
delivering
John.
a decision. You can talk to me if you have a
There we
question
go.
like that, or it's
Okay.
totally fine to talk to one commissioner, but you'll be careful.
Yeah, George, so if I would have the time, yes, for one, but I'm not, I'm a cowboy, so I'm not like some brilliant rocket science. I would be leaning on John because, from the first time I met John, I was starting to ask questions about the legality about stuff and how things go, because I want to make sure that I don't create a conflict for any of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They heard in Doug Smith's letter, he referred to you as knowing how to support common sense growth. Could you explain what his comment is?
Water runs downhill. And things that are obviously in front of you that make common sense, you do it. I work with a lot of people in the agricultural industry, and so common sense sometimes comes over book smarts. When you're dealing with animals, you're dealing with water, you're dealing with all that. I assume that's what he meant by that.
Okay, thank you.
Laquita, did you have?
Yes, I just lost it. Sidetracked here.
I have a question, maybe you'll come up with it. Kirk, what is your experience with property resource and management?
Currently, I'm kind of taking care of a few people's ranches that are out of town people. Is that kind of what you're getting at, Marlo?
Well, and just your experience with your gravel resource and managing and.
So I started my business in '98, but I really never got doing a real good job of it, till about 15 years ago. But I have been in not only the aggregate business, but the farming and ranching. I have cows, I have hay. I dabble in just a little bit of everything throughout our community that used to kind of be how Crook County was, you know? I have a degree in property management. It's a 2-year degree. So I kind of got a little bit of book smarts about that stuff, or a piece of paper anyways.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, sometimes people aren't aware that what we do here and the decisions we make, first of all, are covered by county code, and then sometimes state, and then occasionally federal, and sometimes what the rules are, what caused me to think that, as you said, common sense. Sometimes your common sense will tell you that this is not right, but the law says yes. So those are some of the hard decisions that we have to make. Have you had to deal with things like that before?
Definitely, I'm a licensed contractor, and so I've had to deal with it a lot, especially when you're doing county planning, or, no offense, guys, but you're trying to get some permits going or get something going, and it's a lot of paperwork and a lot of detailed paperwork is what gets you through the permit process. So yes, I am familiar with it. Thank you.
With that, and you kind of touched on this a little bit about asking questions and things like that, but similar to what we'd asked before, sometimes we get people here that, I mean, there's some conflict, you know, doesn't happen often, but sometimes it does. How do you deal with that? And yeah, I guess more so than that, we may be listening to somebody talk and you can hear the audience, him and Han, and we have to tell them to be quiet, but there's a lot of tension, you know. How would you handle that? How Kirk?
I'll tell you, Mike, 50 years. I'm old now, but when I was younger, I probably would handle things a lot different than I do now. And I think age has calmed me down. And I think the best thing is sometimes silence.
Okay.
I mean, I watched some meetings throughout the city and the county where it got really heated. And it really doesn't do any good to fight back with somebody that's like all over the place, you know. Sometimes sleep overnight, those people can calm down, you know. I don't think it's any good to fight with anybody that's off their rocker. Is that?
Yeah, no, I just kind of wanted
Yeah,
your take on that.
Yeah. I admit, when I was younger, I was pretty wide open, but I'm like, got 6 kids now, and I'm like paying for my rent, so silence, you know.
You still have your DEQ certification?
I do, yeah.
What involvement do you have with?
Well, I'm licensed to identify hazardous waste, and then I'm also licensed as a septic contractor, so it helps some jobs kind of coming up, and you can kind of see if you're gonna have problems, especially when you're working on things that could have oil involvement or asbestos involvement, like in that feature.
No, there's no conflict there, is there?
Well, trying to think of how that would lead to a pecuniary gain for him making a decision. There may be times where,
Might have to
potential
recuse
conflicts,
himself.
and that was something you would need to announce in the record, but, make an unbiased decision. He'd be able to keep going. Trying to think of a circumstance where there would be an actual conflict. Maybe if there's an established client that, like, so in that role, like, who'd be some of your main clients for that type of thing?
For instance, septics, if I'm working at somebody's ranch and they need a septic tank,
Yeah.
I don't do residential or commercial anymore. I pretty much only work for farmers and ranchers, so,
Those kind of decisions don't come before.
No, and I mean, if something was, you all know Gary has recused himself, like from lock pits and,
Right.
you know, or if he did business or so and so, or.
Well, I think he'd have enough advance notice, say he's appointed, he has enough advance notice, he could then recuse himself
Yeah.
in advance, and then you guys can pick up their time.
Anybody else have anything? Anything else, Kurt, you'd like to add?
thank you commissioners for listening to me and giving me the opportunity, and I wanted to say thanks for the other community people that are here, because you can't sit on the sidelines and do anything about what's going on. So, thank you guys.
All right, thank you.
It's not out of the governor method, this is out of our code, I'll just read this for you guys. So a member of the planning commission shall not participate in any proceeding or action in which any of the following has a direct or substantial financial interest. The member or his or her spouse, sibling, child, parent, parent-in-law, partner, or any business in which he or she has a financial interest, or by which he or she is employed or has been employed within the previous 2 years, or any business with which he or she is negotiating for or has an arrangement or understanding concerning prospective partnership or employment. Any actual potential interest shall be disclosed at the meeting of the commission where the action is being taken.
Can you say that again? No.
No. Please don't.
Slower.
But so need to be a direct or substantial financial interest, which I think that'd be pretty rare.
Yeah.
The way he described it.
Okay. Okay,
Which reminds me, I should have said this sooner. Are all the applicants aware that this is a sworn position and they do have to make statements of economic interest to the Secretary of State's office every year? Maybe they should know that if they don't.
that's a good point.
That's a good point. I don't think we covered that in the meet and greet, did we? Did? Okay. Are you guys aware of that?
I don't think that was covered.
I don't remember that being covered.
Maybe I thought of it.
I forgot you guys are subject to that, aren't you?
What?
I forgot that you guys are subject to that.
Yes.
Lakota, would you mind kind of explaining how that works for the applicants?
Well, every year, once you're in a position, the planning commission position, the Secretary of State's office requires that you provide, from the time you're sworn, you are on their list. And they require you to fill out a statement every year of where you get your money, what you own, if you own businesses, if you own, what money you get from what business. Let's see, what else? Anyway, you have to fill that out and send it to this. I guess that goes to the Ethics Commission. And then if you don't fill it out by April 15th every year, they come looking for you. So,
Aggressively.
That's something aggressively.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't necessarily put down how much you're making.
Right.
It's just where your money's
There's
coming. The main thing they
parameters,
wanna know is if you're getting, which you're not, if you're getting paid from the county for this position, that, they talk a lot about that. You know, did you receive any funds from this or kind of any kind of a government type?
yeah, or did any situation come before you that you might have an economic or financial interest in? That's when, like Les said, you recuse yourself.
Yeah.
From taking part, so.
So it's not like they ask detailed information about how much you make for each business, but they do kind of wanna know, they wanna make sure your money's not coming from
Yes, and
John.
your spouse and your family members. Too.
You no longer fly under the radar.
Yeah,
This is in ORS 244-050, persons required to file statement of economic interest filing deadline. And so, yeah, it's on April 15th each year when you file your taxes. The long list. Luckily, the planning director's not on it, but
Yeah.
it's a long list.
And they send an email out
Yes.
and I mean, it doesn't take very long, but it is something that I guess is good to know that you
yeah.
need.
And you can do it all on the computer. It takes 10 minutes and it's done. 5 minutes.
That's good to know, so you're not surprised, because their email's a little aggressive.
Yeah.
They would, if they missed this deadline, so they wouldn't be subject until the next April 15th.
Okay. All right, Nicole? Again, just state your name and address for the record.
So I'm Nicole Onko, and I live at 31000 Northeast Ochoco Ranger Station Road. Find the address, but it's in Ochoco's.
Okay. Excuse me. besides what's on here, is there anything else you want to start out with before we start asking questions?
I mean, I think I pretty well stated it on there, from the east here.
Nicole, could you speak up a little louder,
Yes,
please?
ma'am. How's this?
Yeah, the microphone has to be
closer.
really close.
Yeah.
That's a special microphone right
Okay,
there.
I'll get up close and personal with it then. Okay. How's that? Can you?
That's better.
Much better.
No, I mean, I think I put on there with the room that you guys gave us on the application about myself, born and raised here, and in the last 10 years, I've lived back and forth between Crook County and multiple places. Life's just taken me a lot of different places and a lot of different states with my work and life in general with family and whatnot. And so being back home is a good thing, and I'm glad to be back home. And I've seen a lot of change every time I come back home. So being mindful about what's going on, kind of like Kirk mentioned, like you can't stand on the sidelines and complain about things, or, you know, you can talk about it until you're blue in the face, but unless you're in a position that actually allows you to have a say, you know, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good. There's quite a few people that, I mean, truth be told, growing up here, this was not something that was ever on my radar, being on the planning commission. But a lot of people that have grown up here, been talking with Susie a bit as well, and then quite a few people at Mill Creek and in the Oshkosh as well as here in town, even in Powell Butte, and had people call me and reach out and said, I heard that you're running for this. And we got your support, we wanna support you. And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm about to do, to be honest with you.
Okay,
So Nicole, paramedic, medical, unit leader, a lot of energy. It looks like it's really time consuming, especially during the fire season. You see that as any kind of a potential problem time wise?
You know, I've thought about it, and I'll be completely honest with you, sometimes I do get on fire assignments where we don't have service. So there's a chance here or there in the summer months during the fire season where I may not have service, but when and if we do, they'll set up things after about 3 or 4 days on these bigger assignments, cause I don't usually go on the smaller ones, like I end up on the big ones. They will, after 3 or 4 days, have internet and all that stuff set up, so being able to zoom in will be something that I should be able to do. But yeah, I do work for a living. I'm young, I'm only in my 30s, like I don't have the luxury to say no to work, and that is my main source of income. But as far as in the off season, you know, I just help my dad, we run our ranch, and help him with construction and do odds and end jobs throughout the winter time until fire season kicks back up. So there will be a couple of times where I might not have service in the summer months, but I can zoom in and still do the homework and whatnot, so.
Thank you.
What do you think about Crook County now, and where do you see it going in the future?
You know, there are things that are happening that I really don't love. I see it getting implemented, and I think, you know, in the last 10 years, like I said, I've lived in a lot of different places. As far as South Carolina, you know, that's where my husband's from. We've been there the last couple years taking care of his family. And, you know, I've lived in Utah, I've lived in different portions of Oregon, I've lived down in Arizona, and Crook County, when I was a kid, was small. And I think it was a blessing and a luxury to be raised here, but I also had a ranch, and I didn't know what it was like to be a town kid, if you will. That wasn't really something that we did, that, you know, we might have come into town for sports and stuff like that, but other than that, we were always out at the ranch. And, you know, as a kid, you kind of moan and groan like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I'm thankful for it now. As far as Crook County in 5 years, I hope we're just very mindful and able to allow some growth to happen, but keep it in check with the customs and culture of this place, because since living multiple places in the last 10 years. I've seen very close-knit, safe communities go downhill real fast, and it kind of becomes a little bit of a cancer in a way, because doing the profession that I do, working as a paramedic, my husband also being in law enforcement, we see things that you guys wouldn't even dream of that happen in your community. Because we get to see it on the daily, because we have to, that's our profession. So, I want growth in Crook County, but I want it to stay unique to what Crook County was founded on. I know growth is gonna happen, and I want it to, but I want us to be very cautious and careful about what we allow and what we don't.
What do you think contributes to the problems that you see happening in Crook County?
Greed,
Excuse me?
I would say greed.
Oh, great, okay.
If I'm being honest, it's hard seeing a solar farm go into a field that once had cattle ran on it by people that I know for the last 20 years. And the fact that I'm pretty sure Crook County doesn't even have access to that power that it's supposedly gonna create. It's gonna go into the main power line, and I mean, we don't even have the ability to utilize it to the best of my knowledge. And I just think that certain places are meant to stay smaller. That's just an honest opinion for you.
Thank you.
It's where my moral compass is, so.
Thanks. Nicole, what do you think is the most important personal quality a planning commissioner should have?
Well, it's different for everybody because everybody's moral compass is different. But doing what's right and being able to hear both sides of how people feel about things, regardless of your own personal opinion, and letting them, be passionate about it. Like, people should be passionate about things that they care about, even if it's opposite from what you agree with or don't agree with. So being able to hear both sides before you make up your mind, I think is important, because we're not all one-minded in Crook County.
I think my main question was kind of covered, because it was kind of with the handling of scheduling conflicts, just because, I know you're gonna be busy, you're gonna be out there, and
I mean, I
there's really
kind
no
of hope that we
control on those.
aren't on fire from one end of Oregon to the other, if I'm being honest, for once.
And that's gonna take some time to change if they ever figure it out at all. So what are your long-term career goals? You are one of the younger applicants and young, starting your family probably, maybe.
Yeah, so we'll just. I'm back in Crook County. I do work as a paramedic. I started at the fire department in Crook County when I started as an EMT, and I really enjoyed it. Currently though, like, speaking freely, like, there's just some leadership there that, I don't necessarily agree with. And so I make a personal choice to not work for Crook County at the moment. I would like to in the future potentially, because I think that God gave me a gift being able to be a paramedic, and I'd like to not waste that. But for also the last 17 years, I've been employed by the Forest Service, and even though it's a seasonal job, it does pay the majority of my income. My parents are also getting older, as much as I don't like to admit that, but we have a ranch too that will eventually be taken over by my generation, which would be my sisters and I and cousins and whatnot. So that will eventually happen, and I'm a little bit in limbo because I just recently moved back. So I'm kind of trying to figure out where I fit, but thankfully I have a dad that pays me to work with him as well, building. So I'm sure it drives him nuts because I don't know everything that he knows. but, capable of helping.
Well, it takes a special person to be an EMT. I've known a few, and you're a very giving person to take that on as a career. Thank you.
Thought about bridging into nursing too, because it's a little bit more stable work-life balance and being a paramedic, but I'm also debt-free from school and I haven't been in school for about 12 years, so talking myself into going back is a possibility, but not completely committed to that yet.
My mom became a nurse. She went back to nursing school, went back to school to become a nurse when she was 60.
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah, school's always there.
it's always there. Yep.
Are you familiar with Robert's Rules of Order?
And now, I mean, it kind of sounds like the way you guys run meetings. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but being in 4-H, like the structure of the meetings seem very similar to that. I'd come to a handful of your guys' meetings over the course of the winter as far as coming to order and pledge of allegiance. I don't know if that's necessarily what it is, but
Well, it just gives us an idea. If you're not and you were to get this position, it's probably something you would want to look into. They're just guidelines, sideboards of how meetings are ran.
yeah.
Any other questions?
No, I have one quick question. You really got a great letter of recommendation from Zach Lambert.
Mhm.
Meadow Lakes Golf Course, so what's your handicap?
My golfing score is more like a bowling score, which probably really disappoints my husband who golfed in college, but not good.
Is there anything else you wanted to add?
I don't think so. Well, I mean, I clearly have a lot to learn. Like, this is not something that was even on my radar 7 months ago. So lots to learn in this position, but willing to learn it because I care about Crook County and I want it to be a place that, like Kirk said, I want, should we be able to have family, I'd like it to be able to have a reason for them to stick around.
Okay. All righty, well, thank you. Okay. Jack? Sorry, Monty, you were the last on my little random number poll.
Rock, paper, scissors.
And Jack, again, just for the record, state your name and address.
Certainly. Jack Ravenberg, 1270 Northeast Tyler. That's a Prineville address.
Well, same kind of thing, just if you want to start off a little bit, we got your application, of course, but kind of, I guess, give us a little bit before we ask questions.
Okay. Military brat. Parents, both parents in the military. My mom was an Army nurse. My dad was Navy, Army, Air Corps, Air Force, 17 years. Moved around a lot, obviously, as military families do. Matriculated for my junior high and senior high in Eastern Washington, graduated from Kennewick High School. I culled apples, I picked cherries. I drove a wheat harvester, combine, swather, all kinds of stuff, even though I grew up in a professional family. My dad was a physician. After high school, went to college in Salem, Oregon, graduated in 73. Have been employed in Fortune 500 companies for probably 23 of those years after graduation from college. When my kids were old enough to be involved in activities outside of the home, decided to work closer to home rather than being on the road. So coached some softball, coached some Boys and Girls Club football, Little League baseball. I've been a professional umpire and volleyball official for 27 years. My wife, born and raised in Crook County. Met her while I was going to college. We came back after 40 plus years over in the valley. My son lives in the home he was born and raised in. My daughter lives in Portland. She's kind of the feral child. But when my wife's father got sick, she came over to be his primary caregiver. In 2016, when he passed away, I took care of the house to sell it. After spending about a month and a half working on it, putting a new roof and siding and painting it, cleaning it up to get it sold, I said, gosh, this would be a great place to retire. Called her up and said, you always wanted to come home. Here's the opportunity. You want it? She did. We've been here since 2016.
Okay. That was gonna be my first question, is when you moved back, so, okay. Anybody else want to? Go ahead, Jim.
Jack, what do you think is the most important personal quality a planning commissioner should have? Well, I think honesty, integrity, transparency, I think those kind of all bundle into anybody that serves in the public's interest. I don't think I could identify one of those three as the, I mean, I think they kind of form a pyramid of value.
Thanks. Jack, how well do you think you handle conflict? You heard the chair Mike talking about situations we get into, they get sometimes very conflicting. How would you see your patience in dealing with that and making the right decision after listening to both sides?
I appreciate that question. I've been to school board meetings. I've been to Crook County Commissioners meetings. I've been to library board meetings. I've been to cemetery board meetings, and always on the outside. Never been afraid to speak at the time of public comment and voice my opinion or even opinions of those that I might associate with. But I think that being on the other side, being in your chairs, takes on an entirely different narrative, personality, maybe to some degree, where you've got to be, as I said, you've got to be transparent, you've got to be honest, you've got to have integrity. And I think part of that integrity piece is being willing to state what your opinion, your values, what you think is important, to be able to stand clearly on that footprint, so to speak. But not being afraid to listen to what additional information might be provided, information that maybe hasn't been developed by the planning commission, because obviously that's why these meetings are open for public comment as well. And maybe some of the public information that's presented hasn't been uncovered or gathered by the staff. So sitting in that position takes on a completely different role than coming to testify or to offer public comment. So I think I have the capacity to do that. I'm not afraid to listen to what the other side has to say. I think society-wide, things have changed so much. You know, every day, all you hear about is the divisive nature of public meetings. I mean, it seems like social media is full of the posts about what may have happened. People post from somebody else's perception. And they state it as fact, or they state it as, I mean, it's like the old telephone game. Remember, we used to sit around in a circle, and the person to your left would whisper in your ear something, and then you'd turn and whisper to the person to your right in their ear, and go all the way around, and the first person that started the conversation would say what it was, and the last person that heard the conversation or heard the statement would tell you what they heard at the end. And I think that's what social media is today. While I post on social media, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to what gets said. Does that answer your question?
Laquita, did you have something?
No, I have no questions for Jack.
Oh, okay. Are you familiar with Robert's Rules of Order?
I am. I've taken class on it.
Okay.
Point of order?
As far as, you were talking about the conflict and stuff, that's, I think we're very open as we talk, and sometimes that's tough, because you've got your applicants, you got your people against, and then we're up here discussing on things that we don't think maybe one party said, and it can be uncomfortable. And I think that takes some getting used to too. So it's not just about maybe conflict out there. Sometimes I think
We can disagree.
we can disagree.
Yeah.
Then there can be things, and it's kind of different talking about somebody's application right in front of them when we're disagreeing with them or disagreeing with the opposition. So, there's all kinds of that kind of.
I can tell you, I think it was 8 years ago. I don't think John was in the planning department at that time, but we were in the process of bringing my mother to live with us. My father passed away in 2011, and my mom was residing with my youngest brother up in Snohomish, Washington. Mom and dad had been in a motorhome for the last 13 years before my dad passed away. And, the typical gypsies, if the weather gets bad, you pull up stakes and roll up your awnings and drive until the weather turns nice again. That's how they lived for 13 years. But we brought my mom to live with us, and at the same time, she wanted to bring the motorhome down. It was still parked at Snohomish. And she didn't want to continue to live in it, she just wanted it here. And I went into the planning department and to get a permit to put another electrical drop on my property up on Tyler, the corner of Tyler and Sunrise. And the first person I talked to said, "Oh, you can't do that." I mean, that was, I turned in the application, and the person at the counter just looked at it and said, "Oh, you can't do that." And it was funny because the electrician that I already hired to do the electrical work said, "I'll be happy to do it if you can get the permit." Like, he didn't think I'd be able to get it either. And over the course of the next 3 or 4 weeks, I went all the way to the state and finally got a permit issued to put a second drop on my residential property that currently still has that motorhome plugged into it. I understand some of the frustrations, and I appreciated many of the comments that some of the other applicants have made about Crook County, and where I think as a majority, where we all would like to see Crook County continue the culture, climate, the business acumen of Crook County. Within about, I would say less than a year and a half of being here, I was approached by a couple of individuals that were concerned about a bicycle park that was being proposed up in the Mill Creek Valley, by the Mill Creek watershed. And, I met with about 7 or 8, homeowners and property owners and, grazing leaseholders. And after we came out of that, couple hour, meeting, we forged a plaque or a pact that's probably become well known and sure in Prineville, and I've found similar bumper stickers that have different city names on them. But you're probably familiar with the Don't Bend Prineville bumper stickers and the group of people that pushed back against the Forest Service and got the, biking community to back down from putting a mountain bike park up in Mill Creek called Lemon Gulch. That was probably the beginning of my community involvement here in Prineville.
How is your schedule as far as, I mean, I take it you're retired, as I think we mentioned that. Are you involved in other committees or is time commitment any concern?
It's not a concern of mine. I mean, I was retired until COVID. My wife and I pretty much own the house that we live in. It was my father-in-law's house. We've done some things that caused us to add a HELOC too, so we got a payment on it. But one of my concerns about the growth and what's changing in Crook County is what it's cost between when we got here in 2016. I've had to go back to work part-time. My wife volunteers. She's the president of charitable trust that operates the senior center and meet repeat. And so that's pretty much a full-time job that she does for gratuities, same gratuities you get. So I work part-time at Prineville Funeral Home, do some administrative tasks. I worked for a funeral home when I was in college, making first calls, taking first calls, answering the phone after hours. They allowed me to live on the property, which allowed me to continue to stay in college and not be subject to the draft in 1968, 69. My lottery number was 6, so that would have been a pretty significant occurrence if I had not stayed.
Commissioners, we're at 15 minutes.
Okay, any other questions or? Okay,
I talked too much, so.
no, all right, well, thank you. Thanks, John, I didn't know.
Yeah, sorry, that one, we got the water. It's Monty.
Okay, Monty. And again, just state your name and address for the record.
My name is Monty Kurtz. I live at 12282 Southwest Paiute Court in Call Butte. I moved there in 2016.
You want to tell us, before we start asking questions, is anything you want to add to your?
So I grew up in Southern Oregon. When I was born, we lived in Eagle Point, which is a very small community, very similar to Prineville. My parents were both volunteers with the ambulance department, police department, fire department. Small communities rely on everybody to pull together. At the time, being a kid, I didn't know that, how much involvement they had. I just thought it was a second job. And, later through the years, I learned that was all volunteer time. And I lived in Southern Oregon until about 2008 when the economy tanked. Moved to Portland for a job that I took that took me all over the world as a commercial project manager. Took me to, 27 or 30 different countries, all kinds of different cultures, all kinds of different languages, all different opinions and approaches. Definitely gave me some insight from a small town kid to really, broaden your view of the world. And that lasted until 2015 when we kind of got tired of living in Portland and decided to move back here when my wife was born. And we bought a house in Powell Butte. And then one of the decisions we made when we did that was to see if we could add an ADU to give my parents, and at the time my dad was still here, he was in a wheelchair, so we built an ADU on the property to allow him to kind of take it easy. Everything was wheelchair accessible, and then made it easier on my mom, and then we were there to help them through their golden years and whatnot. And so when we moved here, I started managing a fabrication shop in Redmond. And then in 2019, I started my own business and have been doing that ever since. Things that I've done, like the next to the museum, the new addition there, I did the railings up on the deck there and the staircase in the back to a cost only, just to kind of help with that. I'm on the board of our local Prineville Kiwanis. We do a lot of stuff for kids, the park back here, all kinds of events that happen throughout the community. I think that community service is a very big, very important thing. And I think that this is a big community service. I think that being on something like the planning commission falls into that category of community service and putting back into your community when you are able to. And I feel like with my business, I have the flexibility to do that and the desire to make sure that, as we move forward, we're doing it with common sense and looking at, everything that's on the table, as well as including all of the different areas around Crook County. I don't know, when was the last time, I don't know if anybody who's been on from Powell Butte on the planning commission.
It's been 3, Bob, 3 years, 4 years?
Okay.
Been a while.
Okay. I've been to a lot of these meetings. I've been to a lot of county court meetings and then board of commissioner meetings throughout the years. I do know Robert's rules fairly well. And I would just be excited to be a part of this team and help to guide whatever needs to be guided. Most of what you guys do, I've seen, is really being controlled by county and state rules and laws. So you're just there to you can say no, like the rock pit thing. I remember when that came through and you guys voted no. And it went to the board of commissioners to make the final decision on it. And they just had to abide by the law. The law said it was legal. So that's why it happened. And that was my understanding of it. So I do understand the contentiousness of some things, but the reality is it's out of your hands sometimes. So you just have to deal with it the best you can.
You kind of touched on this, and I think that's what you meant by it, but obviously you have your own company. But you said you had some flexibility, so the time commitment and like George mentioned before, researching the material. You don't
All the
think
time I
that's-
want to make of it, I can flex however I need to make sure that, and I think that it's important. That's why I'm here.
Okay. What is your current view of Crook County and where do you see Crook County being in the future? What will Crook County be like in the future?
Well, I hope it's not far off from where we are today. I think that, I think we're kind of under a vice of being more of a bedroom community for Bend and some other areas. So I think there's pressures coming from that. So you're gonna get opinions from that. Because people are moving here and they're not working here and they're only living here because it's a more affordable house, but it's also making it harder for people who live here and work here to afford that housing. So I would hope that we focus on more affordable housing and giving the younger people an opportunity to get into a home affordably. But that's not necessarily in the purview of the planning commission per se. It's just, it's just something as a community you can work together to try to accomplish.
Thank you.
Monty, what do you think is the most important personal quality a planning commissioner should have?
So, I think Jack did a good job of, but I do think that being data driven is very important. I think that I'm a person who drives, their decisions are driven based on the data that I'm given. So if I only have 30% of the picture I can only make a decision based on 30% of it. I can't let outside influence drive it. On the other hand, I think that it's also important that that individuals push the community to get involved. And so not necessarily making a decision one way or another, but, you know, I feel like the different commissioners, whether it's the board of commissioners for the county, whether it's planning commission, if the community doesn't get involved to try and tell you what they want, and they only get mad after you've made a decision, it just makes that so much harder. So I think the data for me is, you know, you can only go off the data that you have and the rules that are available that you're required to follow.
Great, thanks.
One of the things that stuck with me when I first started was Gary Bedortha looked at me and he said, don't do any of your own research. Because that's what I do is research all these properties that I'm looking at. You research everything permits and you look at a lot of things. And he says, you don't do your own research in this position. They provide you everything that you need for your decision.
Okay.
That one really stuck with me.
Well, and just what you said about staying under those state and county guidelines, sometimes people get very upset with us when we are making decisions because they don't understand it. You know, yes, we understand some of the conflicts, we're trying to mitigate the best we can, but it's allowed, we have to kind of stay within that, and that can be tough, and that's,
A good example of that was, you know, I didn't know what the solar field that's going over there on the corner by the hemp farm. That was, I was getting phone calls like, what's going on? You know, what do you know? You know enough things that it's like, I don't honestly know what the deal is. So I came and asked John and a few other people, and it was a decision that was made in 2019.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, what drives that decision? Oh, it's a 320 acre EFU, so you can put up to 320. And so you just learn, you just ask questions. And then the only thing I can do is show people the information. I've actually learned, I don't tell them anything. I just give them the piece of paper that shows them, this is where the data came from. This is what I came to understand. And, they either accept that or they don't.
that's probably the best example of something that got approved years ago, and they're just now, you know, and it's so visible,
Right,
everybody sees it.
right. If it had been 30 acres back, I don't think anybody would have
Yeah,
said a
down
word.
there looking more or something, yeah.
That and what do they call it? Some trails, the development that was crossing trails that was
Oh, yeah,
gonna go in Powell Butte, like that was, people had no concept of how that process worked 30 years ago when it was initially, or 20 years ago when it was initially put
Early
together.
2000s.
Okay, so 20 years ago.
yeah.
And that they could, you know, continuations, for the next 20 years once it was initially approved. And so it's been so far out of everybody's purview that it just doesn't make sense to them.
Right, yeah, and you have new neighbors, you have
Right.
in that timeframe, so. Any other questions? Maureen?
Not a question. You
Statement?
know, well, yeah, I mean, just for, one thing that kind of surprised me initially is the planning commission rarely gets to make a yes or no decision. By the time an application gets to the planning commission, it's already been vetted to the point where it's like, yes, they can pretty much do this. The question now is, how do they do it? So just throwing it out there.
Right. And I've sat through a few work sessions where, you know, like, I don't know, the lighting thing. Like that was a good session to kind of go through it. Yeah, we can't tell you can't have the lighting, but we can set standards for what lighting you are allowed to have. And so you can go through and set and make those rules and then you have to enforce them. And as, you know, like the container rules, like, yeah, you can make a rule about containers, but then you have to enforce it. And then there's, you know, 7,000 people that now have containers and have had for however many years that you have to tell them they can't have this, or they have to paint it this color, or whatever the deal is, and that never goes over well.
Anything else? do you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I appreciate you guys, you guys put a lot of time and energy into this, and so I do appreciate that, so thank you.
Okay, well, thanks, Bonnie.
Yep.
John? So now what? So we had, let me just cover what you had mentioned up front. So we have obviously Cal's position, but then you mentioned, so we have another one coming up?
Yeah, Shelby's spot is open right now, so we're advertising for it, and that advertisement will end June 10th. We'll take those applications, we'll do the same meet and greet, and then we will bring those recommendations to you. During the meet and greets with this group, actually, I did inquire with them if they weren't selected this round, if they wanted their application to be pushed forward to that next round, and they all said yes.
What, what happened with Shelby?
I believe, he has pressure from his employer that there might be conflict of interest, and so he was, discouraged from continuing. I think.
Oh, okay. No, did anybody else?
I
know?
missed that memo.
Okay.
Forgot to.
Well, that's what threw me off when you were mentioning the other
Yeah.
one.
That didn't get to you guys? Sorry about that.
Katie's not here. It was her job.
Sure will, right? Anybody but.
So he's not, he hasn't said, hey, I'm going to be leaving, he's off.
His resignation letter effective that day.
Oh, okay, that's too bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where the two came, that's where I was
Who
confused.
was it? Who was his employer? Or who is his employer? Cause he dumped us like a hot potato up on the hill. Yeah. Job's a job.
Okay, so we have the two, and then,
Then we can add 3 pro tems,
One or more is the way the code's written.
1 or more.
so, okay, well. So what,
So are we gonna entertain Shelby's position at the same time, or are we gonna push?
No,
it?
no, so that needs to go through the formal process.
Okay,
There's a
okay.
order from the Board of Commissioners that anytime there's a vacancy, it needs to be advertised for 30 days. We're within that 30-day window right now. And then we'll go through the normal where it comes to you guys to give a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners.
Okay.
So right now we just have the one planning commission vacancy. And then pro tem spot. And then just with an awareness that will be coming down the road.
okay, gotcha, all right.
So we can keep that in mind with the applications we have in case we want to push them forward.
I think that's fair.
How do we handle the the applicant that wasn't here tonight? Is that? I mean, we didn't get to,
Yeah, it's been surprising. Well, obviously, I think that would go against his case for getting on the planning commission, especially this round.
This round, right?
Yeah,
well, that's how I would look at it. I
You
mean,
know,
I think you couldn't put in for the next, for the one that's
he
open.
might have a great excuse. Oh, he's got a daughter, but yeah, I would probably, it's your guys' decision here, but I would probably eliminate him from consideration this round.
Okay. Well,
So do we close the meeting for deliberation or do we?
yeah, this one's kind
So
of,
to you guys, and this is a public meeting, you know, and so they're obviously free to be here if you could, offer that they could, you know, leave the room if they feel uncomfortable being this part of discussions, but, you guys are free to have a motion to open deliberations or just to kind of discuss what your thoughts are. There aren't hard and fast rules on this. This is not a quasi judicial decision. It's not a land use decision. You are still making a decision as a governing body of Crook County.
okay, well, I guess, well, first, I guess we can ask them if you guys feel comfortable enough staying while we discuss the positions, or is it up to the planning commission if we wanted to discuss it without them in here, or, I mean, I just want to make sure we're doing things correctly.
These aren't legal questions. These are more kind of comfortability questions. And so I think it's up to you guys. If you guys, like I said, it's a public meeting. And so this is, the transcript will be provided. There'll be meeting minutes that'll be provided to the public. And so,
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes a difference one way or the other, but you know, whatever people are comfortable with, both you guys and the people back here.
Okay,
It's kind of an awkward situation.
so go ahead.
Do
Nicole.
you want me to come to the mic?
Yeah.
Okay. Sat in the rules, the Roberts rules. Well, first off, before you guys start deliberating, I don't really know any of you up there, and I was thinking about it sitting back there, like you've asked us all these questions, but I'd kind of personally like to know who you guys are and where you come from.
Valid question.
And
Yeah.
then secondly, I feel like it's pretty inappropriate for all of us to sit in here while you guys deliberate, so I will personally be leaving, cause that's up to you guys to decide. I don't need to hear what you have to say about me, so.
Well, based on,
I'm leaving too.
that's a very valid point. So we'll start with George.
Okay, let's see, I've been a resident of the county. Coming up to 30 years probably. I spent most of my career working for the Oregon Department of Forestry. I worked with your dad quite a bit. I know all about fire season. And it was a great job, and I think some of that background helps me with my thinking in terms of the planning commission. Oh, and I'm also on the board of directors of the fire department.
Marlo Dill. I grew up on a row crop farm in Salinas, California. Relocated to Oregon in March of '98. I've been an agricultural real estate appraiser since 1996, and I've had my own company since 2001. Moved to Crook County in 2003 and have lived up Mackay Creek, same place. Let's see. Have a husband and 3 kids that are all grown, so I can't say empty nesters. I can say I did my job. They're out. Well, at the moment. That's about who I am.
Okay, well, I'm Mike Warren. I'm in real estate. I'm the realtor record for the county and the realtor record for the city. So I do I'm involved in a lot of that stuff. I've been here pretty much all my life. I went to grade school here, junior high and high school. Actually graduated in Elgin. I still have property up there that I go up there as much as I can. I grew up north of town. My dad now has a little over 200 acres up there, but we grew up off grid, so I'm very familiar with the forest and all that up Lofton Creek. I certainly care about Crook County and you know, I think that's why I got into this. It can be a little nerve wracking at times, you know, because you want to see growth, but you want to see it done the right way. So, but I'm really involved at the National Association of Realtors. I'm on some committees with land use, so I hear and see stuff all across our nation. We've got it pretty good here, to be honest. Oregon's tough, but compared to some other areas, there's probably some that are better. But anyway, it's a good outlook to have to see how the rest of the country does it. But so that's me.
I'm Les Williamson. I was born and raised in Prineville. Graduated and then moved to Eugene, where I took my first job in electrical distribution business and was in that business for 51 years. Was in Eugene till '84 and then transferred to a corporate position in '84 and as a young man, I called on this territory. So when you see the lighting at Hoodoo, that was my design. When you drive by Black Butte, those were my 10 MVA transformers. When you drive by Facebook, I was heavily involved in 2010 and put our branch in to service that business up on the hill, just now North Coast. Served on the state electric board for 7 years during the time of Roshnish. That was interesting times. So I saw a lot of conflict there. And retired, but if you ask my wife, I work more than full-time, but I just don't get paid. So I'm on the board of directors with Kiwanis and was on with EDCO and involved in Band of Brothers and involved in Crook County, Rodders. So, love being back home. We moved back here in 2020, built a home in 2020. Married my high school sweetheart 2 years after I graduated. Well aware of the community.
Rita?
Laquita Steck. My husband and I have been here in, Pride Beltwell, Crook County for 20 years. My previous employment was mostly with city, county and city governments, positions of city recorder and municipal judge. When I retired from that, well, before I retired from that, my husband and I ranched and farmed in San Am Valley over out of Jefferson Scio area. What else? We came here. Oh, he retired. He was a railroader. He retired from the railroad. And all of our children are in the valley, but we've always lived this side of the mountains. So we decided when he did retire, we'd settle here. So we're close enough to the kids if we need to be and far enough away, we don't have to babysit. Unless we want to. What am I leaving out? Oh, I've been on the planning commission for I don't know how many years now. Because I enjoy doing things that I consider like a public service with my spare time. Like, what else do you want to know?
Okay.
She drinks a lot of coffee.
I drink a lot of coffee, yes. Day and night.
So there you have it. There's a little bit about us. So,
Just jumping in, Chair Warren, so I said it wasn't a legal question. I should add that there's a legal quirk on this, and so there is an exception. The governing body can go into executive session, have a private meeting, when they are considering the employment of a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent. But as you guys are volunteer, unpaid, board members, I suppose the reason the rule is the way it is that there's a public interest in knowing why you guys selected who you selected. And so there is no carve out for this, as awkward as it is. There's no carve out to have this in executive session.
I just wanna make sure we're
Yeah.
doing the right thing.
So I
So,
know there was another board that attempted to do this in executive session and they got slapped in the hand pretty hard. So make sure you guys don't get slapped.
don't get slapped.
Yeah.
Right? No slapping. Okay, well, we will go into. I guess we can do we have to do the whole motion thing? Can we just start talking about it?
You can start talking.
Okay,
I know you guys are formally usually the way you do that, but the Board
okay.
of Commissioners have called
So
that.
it's not like a regular hearing. So we're gonna go ahead and start discussing. If you guys wanna stay, you can. If you want to leave, you can. So.
Start talking about you.
You think me as my business?
Thank you, folks. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you
Thank
guys
you
for your
very
service,
much.
guys. You.
Thanks very
Who was your dad?
Chuck Giovanini?
Grew up with him,
Did you? Okay.
right next door to Joe's store,
My grandpa.
Willdale Drive, Coach School Apartment.
Okay, that was
We
right,
built
I
those.
remember that, right across the road.
And Jack and Nicole and Monty, before you guys leave, I just want to say as planning director, thank you for you guys for applying and volunteering your time here. Very much appreciated and Crook County appreciates it. So thank you all.
My grandfather, he loved this community like I do. He was Joe Nello. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Since we don't need a motion to discuss, I just.
We need a
Open it up.
motion to discuss.
You can discuss without a motion, but you
Okay.
can go either way.
So what do you say we all just write down? Score, did anybody keep score
I did.
Okay, yeah.
I've got them.
in order?
And just kind of
Talk about each one?
go through. Okay. I'm good with that. All right, is that?
Works for me.
Yeah.
I'll start.
Oh, okay.
First I gave Hunter 4 stars. 2 reasons. One is he's from the Post Paulina area, which is something we need. And 2 is because Gary Bedortha wouldn't send us anybody who wasn't gonna be good. And, how does anybody else feel about it? So we,
I had him as my number two.
number two, okay,
I actually had Nicole as number one. One is, I like a younger age, because a lot of times that brings in different aspects, different viewpoints. Her work ethic, I think, is outstanding. Based on our recommendations. The only concern I had is her occupation and how much she might miss it. So, you know, I'd put Hunter and Nicole virtually at the same level.
okay.
Yeah, that was my concern with Nicole, was just, however, if there's. It sounded to me like it would be that fine line of a fire just starting where they didn't have service. And I guess if they were up there for a while, I'm looking at you because you may know more about that. They do set up to where she would have
Well,
access, or
yeah,
that's what she sounded like.
yeah, I heard that and I'm kind of thinking,
Yeah.
no, I don't think so. Most fire camps don't have cellular access.
Well, and there's a lot going on at fire.
Yeah,
Hold on a second, I have a Zoom meeting. Yeah, we know.
the other difficulty is, being able to, you know, she may say, yeah, I'll be there at that hearing, and then she's gone,
Can't.
you know?
Oh, like a commit thinking we have a quorum.
Or, oh,
And
Right.
then,
that's a
uh-oh,
thought.
something happens.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I had Isaiah in there too,
Mhm.
so I hope he resubmits.
I just feel it's not. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Isaiah too, I know him and everything else, I don't feel he should be part of this conversation since he wasn't here and the others were.
I don't think so either, I don't know. I've heard he's a nice person, but I don't know.
But I think if something happened and he wants to make sure it's in there for the next go around or whatever, then I'm totally fine with that.
so I'll just kind of give you my rankings. I like Monty, I liked him the last time he applied. You know, I think he'd be a good addition. Although I was looking for a different answer to my question about the most important quality. I was hoping for listening, as opposed to being data driven. Hunter's my number two. I thought Kirk did a good job, so I have him as number three. Nicole, because of some of the difficulties, you know, in terms of being a wildland firefighter, being here in the summer, having to bug out very quickly at the last moment. I had her as number four and Jack is number five.
Oh, wait, let's.
Do we include the pro temp as part of this discussion?
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
I think we can, if we can come up with some sort of consensus on maybe,
On the position, on Cal's position,
yes.
yeah.
And then, you know, maybe if we can come to consensus in ranking others as for the pro temp position or positions. I mean, that's an approach we can take.
Hypothetically, John, if we picked two for the pro temp. When the other position finishes its application process. They would still be in that pool though, I mean, it's not, would they automatically, one of them bump up or no? Cause we don't have that pro tem right now, is that?
Right, we don't have pro tem, the pro tem spot is vacant right now. Is your question, what do you mean by automatic bump up? Do you mean,
Well, kind of like,
Is there actually a position, if we have the pro temp filled, is there actually a position available? Because the pro temp would move in there,
Yeah,
or is
yes,
that
that's a
not,
better way to-
that, is
No.
that not how it goes?
That's not.
So
automatic.
I
Not
guess the
on-
pro tem is like your bench position, like a
Yeah.
substitute teacher kind of thing.
Mhm.
And so when they get called up, then they need to serve, but otherwise they're there in the background.
You have to go through the application process, and if someone more qualified, okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
If this is a lot of ifs, but
I
I'm
like
just trying to think of for the future.
Right.
Say we already had 2 pro tems, kind of like we had Shelby when this all came up with Susie. They still wouldn't automatic, I can't remember how we did that, to be honest. They still don't automatically bump up.
That's not how I read the
Okay.
county board of commissioners order or our code.
Okay, no, that's fine. I just. wanna make
In the
sure I
process we
got it in my
went
head.
through, we agreed on him coming in to fill that position.
Yeah,
It wasn't automatic, no.
yeah, okay.
Anytime there's a vacancy, it's supposed to be advertised for 30 days, and then we go through the same process we're going through right now.
All right, clear as mud.
Well, I would concur with, I like Nicole, but I agree with the same concerns. With her being available all the time or the majority of the time. So I would suggest, and I would support Hunter as being the #1 position.
Do you have a ranking for the other ones? I'm trying to keep track of everybody's favorite one, you know me.
I know, that's
Once a
good.
recorder, always a recorder.
Well, I have Hunter, I gave you what my ranking was.
Yeah, you gave Hunter 2 and Nicole 1.
So I,
Yes,
Who's your 3
I
and
have,
4?
I had, well, it was Isaiah, but
just to kind of get the ball rolling,
yeah,
Hunter could be my #1 too.
Oh,
So I don't know how,
And if I need to be a tiebreaker, Hunter was my number 1.
Yeah, I was kind of with George. I had Hunter and Monty were kind of at the top of mine.
I had the same concern with Monty that George did. And data driven,
right,
and
and
I think, I'll talk more about him on the pro temp side.
so are we in consensus that Hunter is our #1?
I am,
yes.
Congratulations.
Smart gamble sticking around. But I would definitely recommend a motion at this point, if you guys are.
And this is
comfortable
just
with
for
it.
Cal's position, so.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
for the,
correct.
Raquel,
So I move that we recommend Hunter, I'm sorry, Hunter, what's your last?
Newhart.
Newhart, to fill Cal's position on the planning commission.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Do we need to add anything? He said it exactly right, because it's gonna go towards the planning commission or the board of commissioners. Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll just call for the vote. George,
Aye.
Marlo,
Aye.
Les,
I,
Guida,
I,
I'm an aye. Okay, so this one's, I think, harder.
yeah, this might be the harder decision. So now you have to decide, A, how many spots you want, and B, who would fill those roles. And so I'd probably. I think that can be done in one motion, but definitely make sure you get that kind of hashed out.
we need a motion for that.
So a motion on the number or the who?
As I said, I think if you guys have a consensus, you can say, I move that we recommend A and B and C for the pro tem position to the board of commissioners.
just so I'm clear too, a recommendation for 2, 3, and 4. Would also be eligible to apply and for
Yeah,
Shelby's.
being pro tem would not prohibit them from then
Okay.
stepping into the role of planning commissioner
Okay,
if they went the same process they went through today.
So, but I think the first thing we need to decide is how many.
now I think we need 3.
Well,
I'd say 2.
I was, yeah,
What do you think?
I think 3 is a lot.
Okay,
I thought we did okay with 1,
I know I go back and forth between 1 or 2.
but I guess I can live with 2. But 3's, I think 3's.
okay.
But
I agree.
there is the chance that if you know, you guys pick 2 pro tems, and then one of those pro tems does fill that vacancy, then you're down to 1 pro tem, but then we could.
Right.
Except
We could
there's
add
nothing
another-
prohibiting you guys from,
We could add another one.
yeah,
Okay.
So if we need a motion,
Well, I think we should cover that. No, well,
it's at your discretion. I think they could be 1 motion or it could be 2.
what do you want to do?
I move that we recommend appointing 2 pro tem commissioners to the planning commission.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second, only to determine the number. Any other discussion? So call for the vote. George?
Aye.
Well,
Hi,
Russ?
Aye.
Wait it.
Aye.
I'm Mac. Okay, 2 positions.
Progress.
All right, so then in that case, I'd probably recommend 2 motions now for each separate position.
Okay, just a point of clarification.
Yeah.
When we do this then for the next position coming up, it'll be after that time frame. If something changes and we think, gosh, maybe we could do that then, should have had 3 pro tems, or if there's enough applicants, or if there's some reason we feel.
It would be my recommendation to advertise for that pro tem position. If you decide we want to fill this pro tem position, it'd be my recommendation that you can advertise that for 30 days. Like
Go
this
through the
first
whole
time.
Gotcha, oh, gotcha, okay.
But you can do that at any time. Doesn't need to
Anytime,
be- yeah,
anytime.
Anytime you can say, John, we want another pro tem. I'll put the advertising.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'll go first on the pro temp on my 2 choices and why. Monty has been aggressive on this from the very beginning and has a lot of background and a lot of experience. And so that would be one of my selections. And the other would be Kirk Jovanini as a pro temp. And a lot of that is because of his background and his knowledge in the local community and well diversified, I would say, in the community. So those are my 2.
I'll just add, those are my 2 also.
Mine also, and they're both from Pal Butte, I understand.
No,
No,
Kurt's
Kirk's not.
not, Kurt,
Okay,
he's out Lamona.
anyway, okay.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Is everybody thinking the same thing about Nicole, just the time
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't
during the
think-
summer?
I think
I really
the
like
timing in
her,
her
but-
life is not right. I
Yeah.
think she'll do well at this at some point in time, if she chooses to reapply.
And that's something I want to try to really convey.
Well, so I just would point out that the pro tem position is less of a time commitment. You have less obligations to be there at a certain time. And so her unavailability might make her good for the pro tem position that she.
Cause I do like her.
And so just throwing it out there.
I do like her. She's very
Well, that's what
articulate.
I mean. I do too, and I don't want her to get discouraged. However, I'm in the same boat. Our busiest time is usually,
Thinking forward, my thought when I'm thinking of her, and the reason I didn't add this in is because I think there's a likelihood that one of these pro temps will come in June. And fill that position, and at that point, it might open it up for more discussion on Nicole.
So I would just add that, the reason I made the comment about we don't necessarily get to say yes or no was basically based because of what I felt Nicole was saying about some things. You know, she definitely seems anti-solar is not the right word, but,
I think
I
she's
get-
worried about farm, land, ground, range.
right, and that's fine, and that's fine, so are we. I mean, we all are. But
It's just not a
oh,
simple
I know
question.
exactly. I picked up on that too, but I honestly think all of us coming into this may have thought different things until you start dealing with the rules.
You think?
But I would agree, but yeah, and I think that's natural, you know,
right, and I think that's why people want to get involved.
yeah,
It's like, I want to influence the process. And we do, you know.
But we have
But-
parameters.
Yeah, we have parameters, you know, we could influence the implementation, but the yes or no decision is often not ours to make.
It can be yours to make, but then it can be overruled.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
is, just your gut feeling, would, is it possible the Board of Commissioners don't want us to have a pro temp? I mean, cause that's kind of,
That is what they did.
that's what they did last time. Or if they cut it down to one, do we need to prioritize? Do we need to, I'm just throwing out scenarios.
Yeah, I hear your question. I think, my interpretation of what happened in the Board of Commissioners meeting was that, they wanted the pro temp position to kind of be a special thing, and maybe in that time it kind of felt like it was the, you had, I think, 3 spots, or were the 2 spots you guys had, and then there was, everybody just applied for it, and it was kind of default, here's your pro temp, because he didn't get selected as one of the planning commission members. And they wanted kind of a reconsideration of that role and make sure that the pro tems were selected, for their strength as a potential.
For a
pro temp.
purpose, not just a.
Exactly, not a default, but for a purpose. And so I think that, us bringing multiple candidates, in the recommendation saying we had 6 candidates. We picked the one for the planning commission spot, and we think these 2 or 3 would be great as a pro tem. I think they'd be very receptive to that. They are always, subject to the winds of political influence from people at the meetings. But I think with, if we come there and, I'll be presenting that recommendation, and that this was a deliberate decision, and out of the candidates, these ones seems great for the pro tem position. I know that they have a lot of respect for you guys as planning commission members for your decisions. And I think, I'd be very surprised if they went against your recommendation in this case.
Okay, well, it's just a question, because I look at it. Had we had it, now we haven't had an issue with quorum, but here's what happened with Shelby. Boom,
Yeah.
if we had a pro tem, it didn't happen. We've been having quorums, but that's the whole purpose.
We did have one meeting that we didn't have. We had to cancel.
Was that one that Shelby was already resigned from?
No,
I'm just curious.
I don't remember.
I should give you guys disclosure too, that I am going to not pound the table, but I'm gonna make it clear that, that I want a lot of candidates for this. And I want a bullpen, and I want us to have 7-member panels making decisions, and that's important to me as planning director. And so they wouldn't be going against just you, they'd be going against me as well. So
Okay,
let's go make that clear.
well, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean,
We're back to our ranking then, right?
yeah, and I think we all were kind of in agreement for the 2.
Yeah,
Right.
Somehow I want to make sure Nicole gets the message that.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
like her issue. We're really concerned about her time.
She can read the minutes.
Oh, yeah. Did you hear that, Nicole? Okay. So I would need a
Ready for
motion.
motion?
Yeah,
Mr. Chair, I move that we recommend that Monty Kurtz and Kirk Giovanini be appointed as planning commissioners pro tem.
Second.
okay, we have a motion, a second, any discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote. George,
Aye.
Marlo,
I,
Les,
Aye.
Rita,
I,
right. Okay,
I think that covers it.
question I just thought of. So when I assume Shelby's position is already being advertised
It's
and it's gonna be held open?
held up until June 10th.
Okay, oh, June 10th. So when these recommendations are made to the county commissioners for their consideration, is there any way you can pressure them to go with our pro tem positions to move up to rotate like that?
You mean to rotate into the official planning commission spots?
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
assuming that an application will be made again, but once this one is already in place.
So, my understanding of the procedure, the way I read it is, it's gonna be open to all comers, like it should be, during this next.
but can I, and maybe, I don't know if this is what you're saying, I guess what I was thinking of asking though. can these pro tem positions automatically be in the pool? Or do they have to fill out a whole nother?
I think when I asked them if they were selected for, if they were not selected for the planning commissioner spot, if they wanted, the application to roll forward to the next round, that covered that. And so even though they would be selected as pro tem, their applications would still go into the.
It would just automatically go in.
Yes,
So
their
I just wanna make
applications
sure
are-
if they have to do anything more that they know they do. If they don't have to, this can just roll in.
So I formerly an attorney, I know the rules, but I do like the easy button. And so for me, their statement on the record, at least us on the record, but
Okay.
the meeting, they want to move
That's
forward, I'm
fine.
gonna move it forward.
Perfect.
And I'll probably be in contact with them anyway, just to double check.
With the timeframes of Shelby's position, you guys already put that announcement out? What's the time?
Yeah, so I forget when he resigned, but I had the notice ready to go very soon thereafter, and so, you check that, Hannah, while I'm talking. But so it's, has to be open for 30 days, and so I put it out before, sometime before May 10th. I think it was,
He resigned April 23rd.
yeah, and then so it had to go in the paper, and so it's 30 days there, and so,
So we're almost there.
yeah, like I said, June 10th, and so, I don't know when's the next planning commission meeting?
Our planning commission, June 25th.
Yeah, so your next meeting. Well, no, it's not set on the agenda, because we have, that's, Moffett, right?
Correct, but it could be added to the agenda. We haven't noticed.
That's true. So we could add this on. The Moffett Solar hearing is gonna be kind of long and complicated, but we could add. We could add this on the back end of that if you guys wanted to move fast.
So the reason for me asking, will we have an answer from the Board of Commissioners prior to making a decision on the next position?
So now you guys have made the recommendation. I'm gonna put together the order. I'm gonna put together a memo. The next, I need to have that to Sarah in admin a week before. They would be having the Board of Commissioners meeting this next Wednesday on the 4th. But because of schedules of the Board of Commissioners, they have pushed that back, and so that meeting won't be until the 11th, which would give me until the 4th to get the memo and order presented to them from your decision today. So my expectation is they will have their selection made on June 11th.
Gotcha, okay. There's my,
Keep them on the hook.
Yeah.
Don't give them any wiggle room.
Is there any way to make any kind of recommendation to the pro tem appointees, once they get appointed, that they should begin their training by attending meetings, especially something like Moffett coming up, so.
Certainly, and so with as soon as the Board of Commissioners affirms the selection, the recommendation you guys gave for both the planning commission member and the two pro tem spots, I'm gonna send them checklists for public meetings and all the kind of information they have that way, and make sure that they have a link to our schedule and say,
Okay.
Robert Rules of Order.
I've never studied Robert's Rules of Order. I hate to say that to you. Like I said, I've advised.
I think we got that, or at least I think I got that in the packet when I first.
yeah,
Probably. Yeah, I know, I've seen like a little booklet, I'm like, oh, that'd be cool to read, but, full disclosure, I have not read that, but I'm familiar with how it's supposed to work. But yeah, I'm gonna get them apprised and up to speed as quick as possible, and they will, well, so they could probably, if they're appointed, the one that's appointed could attend, Moffett Solar, right? Yeah, so you guys would have your new member there on the board right there, and I would definitely encourage the pro tem positions to attend, because that's gonna be a good hearing that's gonna show kind of how the sausage really gets made, so.
yeah.
I have an unrelated question. I was just curious about UGB expansion and biomass. Nothing's gonna come our way until the city deals with it.
I can talk about that as part of our, my update.
Okay.
We okay moving into that?
Yeah, do we need to close anything? Do we?
Not right now. You close the hearing when we're done, or the meeting, but, at this point, we're.
We didn't have a
This is
hearing.
Kind of like a work session, yeah.
Nor script.
Right.
So, I gave, my update to the board of commissioners this morning at work session, the monthly update, the same, data that we went over for our department this morning. And so I brought up the UGB, and I don't know if you watched their last meeting, but the, final decision was to, create kind of these work groups and take a look to make sure that was the right property, to do this for, and if there were better spots to expand the UGB and kind of not exactly going back to the drawing board, but definitely to go back and reassess things. And so, until there is an approval for a UGB expansion by the city, it's not gonna come to us. There is the, the possibility that, there's a possibility that the biomass plant could move forward without the UGB expansion as a commercial renewable energy facility. It's way too premature to talk about that, but basically, nothing's coming onto your plates, as far as that goes in the foreseeable future, and if it does come, it's probably not gonna look like it did at the city, because it sounds like they're going back and trying to get a lot more citizen input, which is important. I think they realized they should have done that from the beginning.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, update, so,
Let's hope there's more going on in the county.
there's a lot going on in the county, so, just to fill you guys in on what the board of commissioners have been doing, they've been doing a lot of land use stuff, so they had the green bar, PAPA, the green bar, comprehensive plan amendment, for the rock pit up in Juniper Canyon. And so the written decision for that, they, did amend the comprehensive plan. There was, some contention on the final setbacks to the one neighbor, Rob Carter. They mostly went with your recommendations, but they expanded the setback, a little bit. But so that was, that last week, as well as the West Prineville decision. Do you guys remember that one?
No.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was.
So that was one of their early, that was New Sun, that was one of their
Yes.
solar projects. That was where they're getting a modification to go above 320, pursuant to that new statute. That's the one that got tied up in Luba in the Court of Appeals, and then back to Luba, and then back to the county. And they had kind of sat on it, but they had worked out a deal with ODFW, and so that's what came before the Board of Commissioners last week. And so the habitat mitigation plan was agreed upon by ODFW, and the Board of Commissioners kind of blessed that final decision. And so that went to writing as well last week, and so both of those, if they were to be appealed, they'd be appealed to LUBA, so there's 2 more weeks basically we have to worry about appeals on those, but those are recent decisions. The related to West Prineville is the TSR North Goal 3 exception. I don't know if you guys remember that one, but you guys, not you guys, the Planning Commission approved the original 320 for that also, I think in 2019, and then 2020, 2021, they applied for their, they did the Goal 3 exception and the modification concurrently with you guys. It was at the same time, the West Prineville stuff went up to LUBA on the Court of Appeals. The ODFW appealed the CUP modification on that one, so Creed remembers this one. And so that kind of played stagnant for a little while until there was enough guidance from the courts on how the mitigation plan should work. And so that the CUP for that got approved by the Board of Commissioners, I think in 2023. But the Goal 3 exception has been sitting on the sideline, and they wanted to bring that back. And so the Board of Commissioners is going to be hearing that tomorrow. It's an ordinance, so there's 2 meetings. The first one is tomorrow. The second one is
June 18th.
June 18th. Thank you, Hannah. And so that one's probably gonna have some eyeballs on it, but the Board of Commissioners is hearing the first one tomorrow. If you guys are interested, it's gonna be at 2 o'clock. And then we have the military overlay. They came to a work session. They brought in Lieutenant Colonel Baker from Kinsley Air Force Base, and gave a really good presentation, but the land use matters will be going to the Board of Commissioners in June and August for the overlay and for the code change there. And so that's what's happened to the Board of Commissioners with land use. That's our update.
So not much going on.
It's weird, when Will was in my spot, it seemed like there was nothing going on with the Board of Commissioners, but now all of a sudden there is quite a lot of activity, but it seems like it's all kind of bunched together, and once we get through this grouping, I think it's gonna mellow out again.
Have you guys, from the planning side, seen like an increase in any permits or anything? Just kind of status quo or?
It seems like status quo right now, but there's kind of some big projects in the works that are getting their P's and Q's in order before they come to us. So there's gonna be big stuff coming down the road, but right now it's kind of maybe the calm before the storm.
You say coming down the road this year?
Yeah, some of it probably will.
What's up, Hannah? Anything with you?
Life, man.
I will add, just this is something I share with the Board of Commissioners, I think it's relevant to you guys too, is code compliance. It seems like we've had a really big uptick in people doing work without permits, and then getting caught after the fact when they're trying to, sell the property or something like that. And so I don't know the cause, I don't know if COVID had something to do with it or what, or if maybe they think they won't get caught, but there's been a really big uptick in that, and it's kept staff really busy.
Well, unfortunately, two of them are our listings, but in both cases, they were done during 2020.
Yeah.
In 2021.
Makes sense.
Which I'm not making excuses, it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
That was their
Yeah.
excuse.
back to back, it was like,
Lots.
you're doing what? But from my understanding, they're getting their information in now, but doesn't make it right, but.
Because at least most of the ones that are coming to me, they're trying to make it right, so they're trying to do the right.
They're trying to
thing.
make it right.
It's more expensive, they probably are kicking themselves for not doing it right in the first place, but as community development director, I want to make sure this doesn't become an epidemic. I want to make sure that it get out of hand, and I want to make sure the staff is focused on doing things that the public knows that just to do it right first time, that our rules mean something, and so that's going to be kind of a long discussion and long problem to try to sort out, but it's on our radar, so sort of bring that to your attention.
Might be that article in the paper about it.
If you
Building
build
permits
during
exist.
2020.
Just a reminder, no meeting June 11th, so our next meeting is June 25th.
Thank you.
Get a little break.
I think I already have that, maybe not.
That's the 11th, my wedding anniversary.
Aw, how many years?
Bring your wife. 59.
Oh,
So is the 25th the one you were, that's Martha?
mhm.
Okay.
And is that stuff on the calendar,
What do you mean?
on the
Online.
planning commission? website?
On the notice.
It's not yet, it will be shortly.
Okay.
That's all staff has, unless you guys have any more questions.
Okay. No, how do you handle the ones we didn't choose for anything?
I'll reach out to them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's common courtesy, so. Whoever applied for a job, never heard back.
Obviously, Monty's here. Are you gonna tell Kurt or we'll just give him an email to show up? No, just kidding.
You there or be square?
I'll probably give them phone calls.
Yeah, okay.
Well, these two maybe not. We can just talk to them after the meeting.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn unless you have any questions.
So moved.
So moved 2 times.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.